This is my most problematic Jacaranda specimen. A lot going on in the roots, a lot of aerial roots, poor root structure. We've got a bit of movement, but some scars, and we had some dieback, which is pretty uncommon for the Jacarandas. And then we have this one branch that I was excited about, and then got this really long piece up here with some new growth in the middle of the winter, which I'm not sure why I decided to start doing that now. But this long part of the top is never meant to stay long term. It's only to kind of develop a thicker base. But when you're doing taper on a trunk, the curves are supposed to get smaller as you move up. And so that trunk right there has kind of tied me into having a shorter tree. And like I said, simply to have this was just to let it grow, to thicken the trunk and to develop the roots. But now I've got some decisions to make, because this is not ideal. What is not a decision is the fact that I've got to figure out these roots. So I'm going to repot this. I'm going to put it in a pond basket. That has been a successful strategy with another Jacaranda. And look, it's a risk, but a risk I have to take. Otherwise, this tree will never live up to its full potential. They do well from cuttings. They can take a lot of work around the roots, and I'm going to count on that being the case. Now, it is winter, and that's never really a time you're supposed to repot, but whenever these Jacarandas are put under artificial light, they perform and they do well. And on top of that, they're showing this budding. So that kind of gives me hope that although it's the wrong time of year, I can still have a successful repot and a fairly aggressive cut back for the roots. But yeah, a lot has gone wrong, and this is my least favorite specimen, so I'm okay with being a bit more aggressive. So decisions to be made here include what to do with the structure. I was thinking about cutting it off there, hoping that it was going to put out a few more branches. I'll probably cut this down here as well, and it's probably going to sprout from those nodes right there. But yeah, if I had it all over again, I would have just put these in far bigger grow pots and let them grow and get thick and tall, and then cut them back. The old saying, grow to cut, don't cut to grow. And I did the exact opposite here and ended up with this very strange looking Jacaranda. There's some interesting parts. It's got some decent texture here on the trunk, and maybe if those scars heal over, it'll look like something. But what I really need is more branches. And so I'll hope to achieve that here. Probably it'll put out one or two at least, and then I'll probably get some growth out of there. But geez, do I cut it all the way back down to here? That's a potential, but this is not a very good looking tree. And like I said, considering how that trunk looks, I've kind of forced into having a shorter tree. The other option is I could just let it grow and grow and grow, and then cut it back at a later stage. But I've got this root work to do, and I think I've got to do something. I always err on the side of taking more aggressive, rash action as opposed to waiting it out. And this is no exception. And also, this is a big pot. I'm willing to bet that if I had to pull the roots, it would be a relatively small root base, and only like a very small part of that is being utilized effectively. So I'm going to invest in this tree, put it in a pond basket, get better roots, and hopefully that's going to result in a better looking tree and a better canopy. And sometimes what you think is going to happen after a prune, you can never really predict exactly what's going to happen, and sometimes that's for the better or for the worse. So I'm going to take a gamble here and see if I can make this a better looking tree by cutting it back and improving the root structure. We'll see how it goes. I do feel optimistic, because my largest Jacaranda I've had in a pond basket for a year and a half, and it's shown remarkable progress. Hopefully this will do the same. We'll see how it goes.